Welcome back, everybody. We are Beyond Movies, and we have just seen Captain America: Brave New World, and this is our spoiler-free review. And here is our bucket of popcorn. Nice wings, yo. Let's put them down because we'll block our beautiful faces. So, yeah, like I said, spoiler-free. We ain't going to spoil anything for you here. We'll talk about stuff that you see in the trailers.
Yeah.
But, yeah, let's just get into it. So, I went into this with very low expectations. Not very low expectations, I was just a bit beaten down, with everything we've been hearing. I was thinking, this is going to suck. And I'm happy to report that I sat through this full film with a smile on my face and enjoyed it. In fact, I really enjoyed it. Now, it's not a top 10 MCU film. I wouldn't even say it's a top 20 MCU film. But it's a good, fun film. It's enjoyable. It's not like the Marvels, which I'm very happy about because I hated that. But this is fun. And that's all it really needed to be. It's a step in the right direction for Marvel. The action were good. Performances, Harrison Ford and Anthony Mackie. Wow. Them two.
I just want to butt in here. The CGI, it looks great in the trailers. I'll admit it. Looks a little janky here and there. But when we went to go see it. Unfortunately, we seen it in IMAX 3D. So we had the annoying glasses. Don't know why they started doing that. I blame Avatar, really.
Yes, blame Avatar.
But even with that hindering my sort of vision, so to speak, the CGI pops, especially with Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford as Red Hulk is like, Thanos levels of good. It's so crisp and it looks, it's believable. I think it's probably like the best we've seen a Hulk character look. I think it even beats the Hulk, to be honest with you.
Infinity War Hulk?
I think so, yeah.
Because he looked really good at the beginning of that, did Hulk?
Yeah. I think it's the fact that it's in broad daylight, and a lot of the times when they do, when CGI looks really good, there's always like a change in the lighting. It looks a bit darker or a bit hazy. This was just open daylight, just simple lighting, clear blue sky, and it looks so good. Like, it pops so much.
I don't want to, like, Harrison Ford's Red Hulk looked great. I don't really want to speak on the other bits of CGI just yet because I watched it with them horrible 3D glasses on, and it just kind of makes the film just look a bit blurry sometimes. But yeah, anyway, like I was saying, performances. Mackie proves in this that he is Captain America, and Harrison Ford kind of steals the show whenever he's on screen. He has some actual emotional beats in this, and he usually Harrison Ford in his later years, he's just been there for a paycheck. He fucking brought it, man.
He did, and I want to say this is a bit of a controversial one. This film didn't really feel like Captain America: Brave New World. It felt like Thunderbolt Ross featuring Captain America. Anthony Mackie killed it, but I don't know if it's just something about Harrison Ford and his charm, but every sort of like, it felt like we got more of his story in this film, which is, it's fine.
He had more of an emotional story.
Yeah, it's fine, but it's just, it feels like this was the character that Marvel wanted to develop, and, there wasn't really too much or any development with Captain America, with Sam, which is a little sad, but, I mean, they could have done something, but...
There's a scene towards the end, I don't want to spoil it, but I feel like there is a bit of development there with him being Cap. He still has that self-doubt, but I feel like towards the end he overcomes that.
But with Harrison Ford's version of Thunderbolt Ross, I don't know, it just feels like it's focused on him. Like, I feel like whenever we did see Anthony Mackie, it was mainly for just sort of like moving the plot forward a little bit, and then also for the action sequences. Of course, you do have Red Hulk, Thunderbolt Ross as Red Hulk. But yeah, no, it just feels a bit off balanced for me. And, like I said, I think it starts off pretty strong with Anthony Mackie and moving his character forward at the start. But then it just kind of gets dialed down and watered down, and then Harrison Ford kind of just, Thunderbolt Ross is sort of the main character, it almost feels like.
I can see that. He's definitely a co-lead in this. But, that's what a great actor will do. He'll come in and make his presence be known.
But I don't think it's just on the performance, though, because it feels like he has so much screen time.
It feels like they go scene for scene throughout the film.
Yeah.
But yeah, one thing I've been hearing that people saying a negative is it feels like a sequel to Incredible Hulk. It feels like a little sequel to Eternals. I wouldn't say that's a criticism of this. I'd say thank fuck, because what did I say? Like, first thing I said is, wow, it actually feels like there's some connectivity in the MCU again. Things are connecting together, you know. Finally getting some payoff for that. We're finally getting some payoff for that. So the MCU is back to, I'm not going to say back to how we love it, but, you know, the thing that made us fall in love with it is the excitement for these connective bits of tissue.
I will say this, it feels like they try to overly connect it. There's a character that pops up in this, and the character's fine, but it just feels like the background of this character is just kind of there for the... It feels like this was one of the elements that was added, because it's not really featured in the trailers, and, you know, I'm not going to spoil it here, but if it does get spoiled for you, this character, I don't think people really care. It's like, oh, cool, whatever, but it just feels a bit forced in a little bit, you know. It feels like this is one of the things that they've probably added very late, because it just feels there's no substance to it. It's just this character is here.
Yeah.
Okay. To push that connectivity side of it.
But then again, I like little things like that. They make me smile.
Yeah.
And like I say, I had a smile on my face from this, from to start to finish.
One thing I will say is, like, I think you'll agree with me on this, is like, yes, it doesn't do what the Winter Soldier does. It doesn't No, it takes elements from Winter Soldier and Civil War, I feel, especially with the politics and stuff like that. But for me, the film felt very comic booky, but comic booky. Like,
spoilers.
Oh shit. Anyways, the film itself did feel like a through and through comic book. Now, I've seen movies as of late, and they've sort of, you know, even the video games and things like that, they've sort of pushed this heavy comic book, you know, not necessarily the aesthetic of it, but the feel and the tone and the story. It's, you know, you got all these more wackier side characters, you know, you'd get from the root of the comics. Some places have done that and done it fine, but at the end of the day, it does need to adapt to the big screen. Now, this is where the fault, I'd say, in most movies comes in, but for us, because the way the story is, and it's not exactly the best, the comic book stuff, the heavy comic book stuff is fine.
Yeah.
At least. It's okay. It's passable. I like it. It's simple. I just wish this story was a bit better, and you know, following these characters through and these certain threads of certain characters' arcs, because there's some big, you know, there's some fairly big reveals in this, you know, but there's some nice little moments as well for Sam. It doesn't really, I don't know, I feel like Isaiah was his, you know, his
emotional anchor.
Yeah,
yes, definitely.
And, you know, no spoil. It's not really a spoiler because it's in the trailer. But when, you know, Isaiah is he goes to shoot the president and he gets locked up. Sam wants to do everything in his power, and that feels like that's the most, like, the thing that drives him is to save Isaiah. Yeah, because he is in this prison.
Kyle Lumley, you know, we've mentioned Anthony Mackie and Harrison Ford, but Kyle Lumley has had a pretty decent performance in this as well. Yeah. Especially when he's getting arrested.
Yeah.
For it is wow. That just the one, I'm not going to spoil it, but the one thing he cares about in that scene was great.
Yeah.
A little not negative, because I liked the stuff. Giancarlo Esposito as Sidewinder, you can tell they was very fitting. Like, they are an element of the reshoots that you watch and you're like, yes, that is reshoot territory stuff. But I would rather have that feeling like a reshoot than the stuff they had before, because I know they had Seth Rollins in it, I believe. He's not an actor, he's a wrestler and stuff like that. I'd rather them reshoot and get a better performer in to do that stuff.
But
so
for me, just talking about this, it feels a little bit too forced in. Whereas, like, you look at Captain America, Winter Soldier, or you even look at the first Captain America, the relationship he has with, like, say, his, you know, best friend or whatever is, you know, this is going on to the Falcon, his sidekick here. It doesn't really work, and it feels very, very forced. I'm not going to say much about Sidewinder because I do agree with you pretty much on all that. But when it comes to the sidekick, I guess you could say, and Sam's new sort of best friend in this, it's not it's not as good as Bucky or how Sam was to Steve. It's very...
He's like a fan.
Yeah, and like I don't want to sound harsh, but it did get a little irritating at times. He has
some good jokes.
He does have
some.
His singular quips that he says are fine. I like them. I think they are funny and they land. But everything else in between, when he's like having a talk or conversation with Sam, it just feels very like this is. I'm not a writer, but this just feels bad. Like this isn't good writing, and the character just doesn't really have any development. It's just kind of he's a friend of Sam and he's there. I would have much preferred that when Sam goes out and he goes out on a mission, I would much prefer him just going solo, and I think that would have helped push his character a bit more forward, as it is his film. And like I say, Harrison Ford Thunderbolt Ross does kind of steal that limelight a little bit. But all in all, I that's probably one of the biggest things I would change from it.
Yeah.
It's just that. But
yeah, because it's his first film, he doesn't need a sidekick just yet. You know what I mean? But you introduce him, and don't get me wrong, Danny Ramirez is great. He's been great in other stuff like Top Gun and stuff like that. He was great in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
So I don't, he can give a good performance, and obviously they're going to use him in an Avengers film later.
Yeah.
But
I want to just get onto the action a little bit here.
Yes.
So I heard initially that the fight scenes, hand-to-hand stuff wasn't the best. Now, I wasn't expecting it really to. I was expecting it to rely heavily on like the CGI of the wings and the shield, which is fine. When the shield is in action, when the wings are in action, it looks great. We don't get enough shield action. We definitely don't get enough hand-to-hand wing action. No. The hand-to-hand combat, though, like the pure just,
which is what the reshoots were for, apparently.
Yeah. It's okay.
I really enjoyed it.
The first scene was okay, but the scene where they're in the midway through the film when they break their way into a certain place,
I liked that scene more than the first.
I disagree. I liked the first scene more because of it. I try not to get into spoilers, but it relies a little bit too much on the shield in that, and which is fine, and it looks great, but then when there is these little hand-to-hand bits, I'm just like, this looks pretty not great.
No, I think action all round. I think I says to you, there's one action sequence in this where I feel like they mastered it. Sam fighting multiple people at once. There's one where he has a one-on-one, not with the Red Hulk. There's one where he has a one-on-one with just one guy. And that kind of fell a bit flat for me, that action sequence. But all the other action I really enjoyed.
And does this kind of confirm as well with the suit? Is the suit actually vibranium, like the material? Because
probably underneath the fabric.
Yeah. I would have thought, with it being Wakandan, they do weave it into their, clothing and fabrics and armor. I would have thought. So it is weird when it gets scratched up, and that it felt very out of place for it to be.
Here's a new suit coming.
Yeah, it was basically like, here's a new suit after we've literally just said this suit's made out of vibranium, and it kind of feels a bit off to me.
That's not really a spoiler though. But
it's not really a spoiler. It's just a suit transition, and like when it's not like other films where they've done it better. This feels like, okay, we need to give him a different suit. This is why.
Speaking of the suit, that new stealth suit. I don't think it'll ever beat the classic one we got in Falcon and Winter Soldier. When that first
it's a little
appears.
basic. It's a little basic. I can't lie.
But if they're doing like their own iteration of the stealth suit, which it's called the stealth suit for Sam, then it's perfect. It works really well for this film.
I'll be honest. I'd much rather see. I know Anthony Mackie has come out and said he doesn't want to wear the cowl.
He said, "I ain't fucking doing that again."
The cowl looks fucking awesome, and I wish that they would have figured a way to implement it and make it more comfortable, or just change something ever so slightly, but just so we can use it.
Do you think they'll just CGI one on in like Doomsday or something like that?
Probably will do. Yeah. I can imagine they want to go full comic accurate. But I'm a sucker for the original Captain America, Sam Wilson's Captain America, white and blue. I think that is like genuinely one of the best comic book costumes ever. I'd say it's probably like, in terms of comic books, I think it's better, a little bit better than the Captain America suits that we get. Obviously, you've got the one from Civil War, which is iconic, but this one just looks so clean and so nice, and it's a standout. And we do get a little bit of it in the start, like I say, it gets damaged and he moves to a different suit, but yeah, I would have much preferred seeing more of it, to be honest with you.
No, definitely. Right, so Kyle, wrapping up then, gives you just your final thoughts on the film, and what would you score it out of 10?
So I went in and I was kind of expecting to give this like a 6, just from all the sort of things I'm hearing about it. I went in quite, I came out of it quite surprised, and I quite enjoyed it. We're off to go see it actually as well in like 4 hours, so thank God we like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'd give it a solid. I think obviously I'll need to see it again, but I'm leaning to a 7.5 to a.
Wow.
Yeah, somewhere around that mark.
I wasn't gonna go that high. I was gonna say like I'm thinking maybe like a 7. I really enjoyed a majority of the action in it. Sam, he solidified himself as Captain America for me. There's been a lot of people. You're not quite there yet. I don't think with.
What with Sam being Cap?
No, you're there. You obviously you accept that he's Cap,
Yeah.
but you're like, to me in this film, he proved that he is Captain America.
I think he proved it to me
think?
in Falcon and Winter Soldier show.
Yeah,
it will fine for me. It would just, I need to see stories with him as Captain America now, and it just feels like they're still dragging out whatever they had.
Mackie says he wants to do it for another 10 years.
Well, that's good. I just hope they can flesh out his story a bit more, because I do love the Isaiah stuff, and that's great, but it just felt like that was the only thing really pushing him in this film. There was nothing else really sort of there. But
yeah, no, look,
where do you score it?
At 7, I'd say.
Okay.
And look, I enjoyed all the action. The Red Hulk fight is fantastic.
I thought there was something going to happen at the end. I thought a certain character may pop up. I won't say who, in what shape or form, but I was like, yeah, it was good. The CGI again looks great. It does feel a little short when they actually do come to fight each other.
And do you know what? Watching it now, I actually think Sam Wilson's Captain America probably would have stood a better chance than Steve Rogers' Captain America against Red Hulk.
Well, yeah.
Watching it now, I think Sam just had way more in his arsenal to deal with it. So,
yeah. 100%.
So he didn't need that super soldier serum. We believe in you. If you've seen the film, you'll get that. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. If you've seen it, let us know down below what you thought. Look, all opinions are welcome here. We won't judge. Let us know if you hated it. Let us know if you loved it. Like me and Kyle, he's like, it was good, it was fun. And I think because I was going in expecting to be disappointed, and the fact that I wasn't disappointed has made me so happy. So I'm bumping it up a bit more for that. But yeah.
It's a good time in the cinemas. If you're expecting something amazing, or on the levels of Winter Soldier, don't set your expectations that high. But I'd say it's like it's got that sort of enjoyability of watching. You are happy to smile and sit there and enjoy it, because it is a good film in that sense. It's a fun film. But we've said this before, where films are like, it's not the greatest. It's it's as long as it's fun, that's like the lowest that can make me happy. This is fun, but it also has some other bits in there that just bunk it up a little bit.
And it's definitely one of my favourite post-Endgame releases as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's stuff like Shang-Chi, Spider-Man No Way Home, and Deadpool and Wolverine, which are just going to be at the top.
Yeah.
But do you know what? Brave New World might be number 4.
It needs to... I wish it had, again, with Sam Wilson, I wish it had something else pushing onto it for his character, motivating him a lot more, having a bit more connectivity with what's going on, because it feels, to me, it feels like it was all setting up the Red Hulk stuff, which is fine, but it's Captain America, it's not Red Hulk, the Brave New World, it's Captain America. So I wish there was just a little bit more of that in it, but other than that, it's a fun time. It's a fun time in cinemas.
But anyway, Marvel, pay us. We said your film were good, and That'll
your buckets of shit though. Right?
yeah,
Piece of
that'll sort us out for next time we go see a film. Thunderbolts, mate, what are you doing? You could peeling the shield off.
Man, so I just rip it off.
No. Right, thanks for watching, guys, and
Just
we'll
spat.
see you later.